Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about, do you think we should continue labeling child predators? Why or why not? Is our system doing a good enough job that we do not need to change anything? Or is our system not doing good enough? Well, honestly, while I can understand people just saying it's wrong to label people as that or it's wrong to label them as the other, for certain things, though, I do fear that it is fair. For example, child predators. No offense, but these were people that were sick or disturbed enough to try to lay their hands on children. At that point, I think your rights should kind of go out the door if you're depraved enough to do something as sick as that. I mean, honestly, how would you feel if that was your child that they try to mess with? I know myself, I wouldn't be happy about it, and I would definitely want them to do something. So, in that regard, I think they should continue to label them because, I mean, if you're willing to do something as depraved as that, then no offense, you basically shouldn't have certain rights at that point. Yes, I understand they still might have feelings and stuff like that. But that's like saying that a serial killer going around that butchered a bunch of people shouldn't be called a serial killer. No offense, they are. Hey, it's just the way the world works. Now, is our system doing a good enough job that we do not need to fix anything? Honestly, I don't think our system's doing a good enough job. There's lots of ways they can get around the situation. For example, right near where I live, they had a donut shop that had opened up. Unbeknownst to everybody, the person who opened it was a registered pedophile. And lo and behold, most of his stuff was geared towards children. He would only open during the mornings when people were coming by with their kids for school. He did not tell any of the people around, which is the mandate and requirement to let people know in the area. And he was trying to hold daily specials for kids, even had a menu for kids. So in ways, he didn't give a care about the rules and regulations. He was going to do it one way or the other. Needless to say, when the other businesses nearby found out, they basically gave him an ultimatum of either hand the business over to somebody else, or they were going to report him to the local authorities. Now, while for some people that might seem out of hand, think about it this way. A sexual predator that was a known pedophile literally set up a business that was aimed towards getting near children. Now, there have been times where the system has also blundered. For example, you're supposed to register your place of residence as your dwelling if you're a registered sex offender. There are certain people that get around this by living with their parents. So therefore, they don't have to list their parents' residence. And there was one guy who literally was busted for living in his parents' basement right across from an elementary school. Needless to say, if I was a parent who had a child at school, I would definitely not feel comfortable knowing that there was a registered sex offender and pedophile living right across the school underneath the police's radar, hiding where he could have gotten access to children at any time. They've busted several for trying to sneak into places and grab children. So this right here shows that our system is doing a not good enough job. For example, Disney. They caught a pedophile who'd snuck into Disney, a place full of children. And this was supposed to be a secure place. Luckily, they happened to catch him in time before he could do anything. But what does that tell you if they're even trying to sneak into well-secure places like Disney just to be near children? I honestly think we should try to find better ways of keeping up with them. Now, I'm not saying turn around and go overkill by like implanting a chip into their arms, that way you have to track them at all times. But depending on the severity of what they've done, have where every so often maybe have them report into somebody. I know sometimes some of them are set up on like a parole or something like that, so they have to report into people. But there's still ways to get around it where they don't ever notice. And depending on the severity of it, depends on, like I said, how much detail or setup they need. Like, if they try to do it to several children, relocate them to an area where there's not going to be any children. Or, better yet, put them under house arrest with an ankle bracelet. Some people might say that's overkill, but if they were willing to do it to several children, at that point, I really don't think they have any rights or deserve to have rights because they're no better than an animal. Now, that might seem harsh to me, but that's just my thoughts about it. I mean, how would you feel if you looked over, next thing you know, the person that was over there with your child was a sex offender that had raped several little children? How would you feel at that point? Now, I gotta admit, though, sometimes, though, the law doesn't fully do a correct job of punishing people. Sometimes some people who did nothing wrong will get labeled as it. For example, there was one man went drinking the night before, went to his own home. Needless to say, the next morning he woke up. So people who drink a lot can somewhat understand that, but also people who haven't drank much and tried it for once can understand when you wake up in a situation you don't recognize. However, unbeknownst to him, his family came, or his relatives, came over to visit with the little girl. Him not knowing because of the fact that he had a massive hangover, stumbles out of his bedroom naked in front of the niece. Next thing he knows, they call the police and file charges of him, and now the guy's labeled as a sexual predator. All because he was in his own home, minding his own business when his relatives came over without telling him and entering without asking him, bringing their girl, and then trying ruining his life. So I think at the same time, while we need more serious rules and punishments for the people that break it, we also need to try to come up with a better way of determining who is or isn't really guilty. I mean, nowadays, all it takes is the word of a child to label somebody. For example, one kid turned around and didn't want to go to the doctor, so they turned around and started screaming that their parents had touched them inappropriately and had done wrong stuff to them and got their parents arrested and had them taken away. Later, the child admitted that they made it all up. They just didn't want to go to the doctor. But not before they destroyed their own parents' life because of their selfishness. Now their parent is going to be known as a sexual predator. Even though their parent never did nothing wrong, the child set them up. It's not that hard nowadays for the system to be abused. So the way I look at it, it's kind of both ends of the fence. On one side, yes, we need to deal with the people that have committed offenses and are a risk or danger to others. But at the same time, on the other side, we need to take a better look at people being charged to see if they really did or didn't do it. You see in the news nowadays where we're coming up with a lot of cases where people that were accused of doing stuff, thanks to DNA evidence later down the line, it's proven they did not do it. So I think we really need to work on it from both ends. But that's just my opinion. I would like to hear yours. Thank you very much for your time and for listening to what I have to say.